Jarek, let's talk about why they will win. And when I mean they, I mean Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And then we'll do why they will lose. We're going to go through each candidate here, and we're going to give 3 points, the three big points we think why they will win and why they will lose. So we'll start with Trump. I kind of already got started, but we can disagree or talk more on this. So right now I have memory loss. The reason I put this one down is people forgot how much they hated Trump and forget what it was like under Trump. I guess I'm
Mm,
just talking about the general American voter, I should say. So people maybe who voted for Biden in 2020, they're like, you know what? I actually do. I didn't mind 2019. I'm gonna go Donald. I'm gonna go back to Donald. So I'm gonna say memory loss. I don't know if that's a strong one. Uh, my next one I had was American voters are more right wing. There's a reason maybe Kamala Harris has pivoted more to the right because maybe American voters are more right wing, and maybe that's a strategy for her, but maybe she still doesn't get enough votes. But maybe there's a lot more people who like Trump. They're like, you know what? I did Trump, I did Biden, and you know what? I'm liking what I got under Trump. So I'm going to say American voters are more right wing, just generally speaking. And then I have the third point, which I think is the strongest one. Uh, Electoral College. He wins the Electoral College again, like he does in 2016. He doesn't win the popular vote, but this man finds a way to get the W through a broken system. Um, like I said, these are just 3 points that I came up with to kind of show as an example. We can change them, but I want to hear what your thoughts are and why Donald Trump will win.
all right. I'm gonna start with social media. I'm gonna start with how like we have
Social
people
media.
like Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Tate. Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna rate.
I'm going down that route. How he's getting a lot of younger voters with that and brainwashing them, basically.
Would you say like right wing
Right wing
influencers?
social media, like Turning Point USA, I think is
Yeah,
pretty
I'll just say
big, and
right
this
wing
is
influencers to kind of sum that up.
yeah, because like I think Kamala doesn't have that Riz and
That is.
doesn't have the base, and
I mean,
this is
there's
what
some.
we went through our discussion with how the left is kind of separated with their beliefs
Right.
and stuff like that, and I think the right wing are a lot more united than the left wing. So I
They're
kind
just
of give
anti-liberal, or they hear that, or they whatever they
yeah
think that word
they
means. They
yeah they are they're all races. They're all like united. They hate the left wing. They hate the idea of liberalism. They love money and capitalism, all that bullshit. So it's like I just think the right wing is a lot more united
so I feel like
in
those are
that.
two separate thoughts, though. Right wing, more organized, maybe is a better word. More organized and united.
I think when he says plans, like he like Kamala, she kind of says things on like she never gives a plan or like let's say a policy. Trump, he's pretty straightforward with what he wants to do, I think. And I think that's a good winning aspect too. Like
I don't know if
he's
I
pretty
feel like he
straightforward.
flip flops quite a bit, but
Yeah,
I
on some key things, but I'm saying like he's always been super straightforward on how he talks,
he's a good he's
so
a you're saying he's
he's
a
a good speaks he speaks good.
orator or orator better speaker to his base maybe specifically,
Yeah.
not maybe just the general
And I think
American.
my last one, I think, is the attempt of assassination on Trump, and also the jail sentencing. I think helped his campaign big time.
Jail threat. I'm not gonna say I agree with you everything on all these. I mean, I see where you're coming from on them. But if we had to narrow these down to three, I think right wing influencers is more of an online thing. Like, yes, they have like, Tim Pool has a pretty big audience. So does like,
I
Louder
think
with
that
Crowder.
has a big influence on the voter because you're brainwashing basically your
Yeah.
voter.
Yeah, but like Tim Pool or you know, uh Logan Paul, even he just did his endorsement of Trump or whatever. Like,
Jake Paul.
whatever. Uh, you know, they have millions of followers, but like half of them probably can't even vote. I don't know. I don't think like they're big numbers in terms of the internet world, but real life is real life to me. I think
Which is
there's
a little scary coming for upcoming elections.
I don't think the needle's moved as much because I could say the opposite. Hassan, he gets 33K, let's say on average.
No, the Young Turks, they say they have millions, right?
But I'm saying if that's the case, wouldn't they be able to sway an election? I don't think that's true. And I say on the opposite end, the right. I think right wing culture is more prevalent, and I
But
think
we're talking about why they will win. I'm
yeah,
not talking about what the future holds. I'm just saying,
right.
like,
Well, I'm
this
saying is
is.
I don't think the
But
reason Trump wins is
if there's a
because
lot,
Tim Pool or whoever did a
well, that's
great
what
podcast.
but why do you think young voters, or I'm sorry, young white men are going out to vote? You know,
Because
because
Donald
of right
Trump
wing.
is the
If
epitome of
no, I think it's more influencers than Donald Trump because
mm,
a lot of people don't
I think
listen to them.
they go to those influencers with the wanting to hear the opinions they already have. I think, in my
I think
opinion.
they have bigger aspect than you think.
I don't think enough to win an election.
I think it sways people because
I
that's where
think we
people
can
get their
agree if
media.
we're being general, this kind of fits under my point of American voters are more right wing, or right wing is more organized and united. Uh,
I think right wing, more organized and
all
united
right,
is probably the better fit.
let's do that one. Let's compromise there. I still think electoral colleges need to be the top one because let's at the end of the day, like the only reason he ever was in the White House was the electoral college and not by popularity. And then there's a chance that can happen again. So I think that needs to be number one. Not maybe not. I'm not doing this in order, but just like needs to be one of them. I think his assassination attempt would have been a bigger deal if it was someone who was left leaning who tried to do it. So I think his assassination attempt only motivated his base, but I think that once again kind of fits under the United umbrella for me. I don't think he's a great speaker. I think he's kind of washed at this point compared to what he used to be. And then jail threat, I think, is more of a personal problem than.
I think the jail threat is one of the bigger ones. I think, to be honest, because
I mean, you're saying people are voting though, so he doesn't go to jail. Do you think many people are voting with that in mind?
not that, but it's just people are voting for him because they think the Democrats are trying to get rid of him.
Wouldn't that be more of under United again?
I don't think so. I think this. I think. I mean, there's 4 different criminal
It's us
investigations
versus
against him.
them. That unitedness of like, oh, they're trying to lock him up, just like they want to lock me up. That's kind of how I look at it.
But when you look at the 2024 election, they're going to talk about this. That's what I'm trying to say.
But is
They're not
that
going
the
to talk.
reason why he wins? Cult of personality. I mean, that kind of falls under United, though, doesn't it? Or I guess no. I mean, I think it's to a degree, yes, they're united, but there is a level of cult of personality. Most supportive people don't even know the policies. That yeah, I do agree with that. How many people just vote for him because he isn't a liberal, you know? And that kind of also ties a little bit to being united because they're all united under the cult of personality. But I agree. I mean, I've seen like there was a. I mean, once again, we shouldn't use online stuff as for all encompassing. Uh, but like there's a big tweet about like his youngest son there, Barron, and how like, oh, I can't wait for him to be our president in 30 years or whatever. And it's just like you just want an emperor, right? You want like an emperor system. They'd be totally fine with that because it's Trump. It definitely is a cult of personality. I agree with that. That's a good point. And I think that kind of sums up a lot of other stuff. Like his assassination attempt or oh, he's going to jail because he says the truth. They don't like him. It's us versus them. These 2 points are tied together for sure. I don't even know if I fully even agree. Right, the right is more organized. I think they just I don't know, but I think if he does win, you have to say the right is more organized. I guess that's part of this conversation too. It's like if he does win, these three must be true, or one of these three must be true, right? I think that's how I look at it. Are you okay with those? I think I'm good with those. That makes sense to me.
I
But
mean, we could talk about it for ages, so.
do we feel like these are the three big things of
Yeah,
why?
I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, cult of personality, right wing overall is more organized or united. Electoral college.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well,
Kamala.
let's do
Go to
Kamala.
Kamala.
Why will Kamala win this election?
Hmm. Wow. It's kind of scary that I can't even think of something that quick. Um,
I was gonna say,
she's not Joe Biden. I mean, she's
I'm
not
gonna
Joe
write it
Biden.
down. I'll write it down for now. Maybe,
She's a young black woman, so
which could hurt her, arguably.
it
Uh,
could. It could also boost her.
I was gonna say Roe v. Wade. I know this isn't really like her specifically, but her being a woman ties to this, right? But also just Roe v. Wade's impact will help Kamala Harris get more votes maybe than if she was just running, let's say in 2012 or something, right? Uh, like if Roe v. Wade wasn't overturned, would the whole argument, oh, they're trying to take take our rights
Oh,
away, it wouldn't hit the same, right? Because they did.
nah, it would be a Trump landslide on that.
So I'm gonna say Roe v. Wade, and then leftists. I'm just gonna say leftists, or pro-Palestine voters either don't affect the outcome. Like the amount of people who don't vote for her because of Palestine, or just I'm too left for her, don't actually either they do vote for her anyways, or they just don't vote at all or whatever. But it doesn't matter because she had enough votes otherwise. So then we talked about Michigan. Like I said, maybe I could see it going blue anyways, despite this the pro-Palestine movement that's from there, the uncommitted movement. I can see that, potentially being a loud minority of voters. Maybe it isn't as big. So this is, like I said, if she wins, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if she wins, I could see that being one of the reasons. They want it voting anyways for Kamala Harris, or there's not a big enough number to sway either way. And that also, I guess, includes third party.
Yeah, I really can't think of a lot for Kamala Harris. Like, just
I mean, I
she's
kind of like the not Joe Biden, like you said. Like people just
because that's the
didn't
only
want to
reason
vote for
why she's
her.
here. That's the only reason why she's here.
Well, I'm
You
saying
know,
just like how many I've talked to multiple people. Once again, we shouldn't use our personal experiences to do a big generalization of the country. But with that said, I feel like I know so many people, even our age and maybe a little bit older, who are like, I don't care. I'll vote Democrat. I just hate that they're old. They don't even care
yeah,
about policies, and that's once again from a cult of personality. I think there is this level of vote blue of no matter who was tested with Joe Biden, and they still wind up switching him because they're like, we don't want to test that too much. Fine, I'll give you a younger candidate. So I can see that being just on that alone, that can make people turn out to vote. Because all the people who voted for Joe Biden held their nose in 2020 are like, I'm a Democrat voter. I just don't like Joe Biden, but I'll vote for him because I don't like Trump. Or like, you know what? I like Kamala Harris more. All right, let's go down to why they will lose.
this will be easy for both of them.
All right, well, hit me then.
I'll start with Kamala, but you can go first for Donald Trump.
Oh, we're doing one at a time.
I'll do Kamala. Like, I'll start first on Kamala.
I was gonna say Donald Trump. I'm gonna say his racism catches up with him.
Fascism.
His racism. I'll just say sexism, fascism, catches up to him, he's deterring too many people at this point, and the people who are diehards aren't enough to overcome the amount of people who are. And the sexism ties a bit to the Roe v. Wade too. Of like, there's a lot of women who already thought he was sexist, but him taking
Yeah.
away their rights just doubles it down. You know what I mean? It just pisses them off enough
I
that
think what will make him lose is the last election. Meaning, meaning
the
the way
January
he ended
6th.
January 6th, COVID, everything. I think just last election will be the reason, and people didn't forget.
January 6th.
COVID. I mean, just his
I mean,
first
COVID
term.
could be its own separate one. I can't put COVID and January 6th together. I think those are two separate things. January. I'm gonna say January 6th, and
But you could sum it all up by just saying his first term, because if we could go down every little fucking thing,
his
in his
first
first term.
term, more specifically,
How it ended. How it ended.
More specifically, January 6th and COVID response.
And you could also put Roe v. Wade.
I guess, right?
For him, yeah. I mean,
well, I guess that's sexism. But no, I think it's its own separate thing, because even if someone doesn't think he's sexist,
the biggest thing.
They're just like, I'm tired of my rights being taken. I'm done. That's the only reason. I don't even give a fuck about anything else. Right? I mean, I guess it's the opposite almost of these. Racism, sexism, fascism catches up with him. His first term, but more so January 6th, and COVID response. I guess I'll say remembering his first term. That goes to my first original idea of like saying people have memory loss, that they look back at COVID and like his first term and weirdly like rose tinted glasses. They're like, oh yeah, he tweeted and stuff a lot and it was kind of annoying, but like the economy was fine, you know.
Yeah.
Why they will lose. Actually, that goes into my next point. I mean, if you want to go first, but speaking of the economy,
this is easy. Israel versus Palestine.
Palestine genocide, and yeah, I'll just say Palestine genocide. That covers it.
Going way too right wing.
Catering to
the Republican Party.
To the not Trump Republicans voters. And then my third one, I think, is the economy. It doesn't matter what is factual or what is happening. I think a lot of people really do believe in the gas prices. See, I was thinking that too, Cheese. Misogyny and racism, I feel like it's got to be, like, I mean, that is the question. That is a big question mark for this election, is because I feel like Trump and the whole, even before him, the Tea Party, right, comes out of the racism towards Obama at the end of the day. Like, at its core was, how did we let a black man into the White House? But my thing is, Obama's still very popular, so I think the general voters, not saying you're incorrect, but I don't think that'll be the reason they lose will be just because everyone's racist and misogynistic. I think, actually, Jared, can we put catering to the not, do Palestine genocide and catering to the not Trump Republican voters? Because those are two of the same kind of things, where she's ignoring the left, the further left, and is catering to the right.
Yeah,
and then we can put misogyny and racism, because I do think it's a factor. I don't know how much of a factor, but it's definitely a factor. I don't think we can ignore it.
I mean, there's a lot of more micro little things that you could say about both candidates.
I'm just doing the top big three. Maybe I'll just... Yeah, I mean the Palestine genocide thing, if she needed if it comes down to Michigan, if she loses that, that's who's going to get blamed. unfairly, but I already see people blaming those people before the fucking votes are even counted. So um, I don't want to remove that one. And then the catering to the not Trump Republican voters. There's a lot of people on the left who are pissed about the border, um, her kind of watered down trans her like trans rights kind of opinion where she said she'll follow the law when some of the laws are anti-trans. So I feel like catering to the not Trump Republican voters kind of sums all that up. Because I do believe that there isn't as many of these like not Trump Republican voters out there as I don't think I think some of those people are just liberals who are still in the Democrat Party. I think the Democrat Party is just Republican to a degree. So it just is a different name and they care about social issues. I've been on the record of that multiple times saying Democrats are just pro LGBTQ, but then they're still okay with fracking now and the border and dropping bombs on brown kids in another country. I think this is good. I think this is good. Yeah, Donald Trump will win if Electoral College. He's a mastermind, I guess, or something, or just really lucky at winning the Electoral College. I think there's a good chance he doesn't get the popular vote again. But that's how Republicans have won the presidency in the last 20 something years. Our entire lives, Jarek, has only come down to the Electoral College. I think outside of George Bush in 2004. So I think if he wins, it's probably a good shot. He probably won the Electoral College and not the popular vote. And then we said right wing, more organized and united, meaning they're kind of more under one umbrella. They will support Trump, no questions asked. It's not the same as how the left always. I'm using the left very vaguely here. I guess I'm including liberals here. I don't like including liberals under the left, but in America, I guess it counts as the left. The left has always been very critical of the Democrat candidate since 2016. So I think that is, definitely something that Kamala Harris is going to deal with that Donald Trump doesn't have to. Donald Trump is, for the most part, pretty united, has a pretty united front for him. The only Republicans who publicly out him are just some dudes on Twitter called the Lincoln Project. So, right wing, more organized and united. We talked about how Jarek mentioned younger men, especially, are more right wing, and a lot of that has to do with influencers, but also I think just a lot of young men, see Donald Trump as a successful businessman who, is pro man, right? Like pro white guy. So there's that. Then we have cult of personality, where yes, I do believe Donald Trump can shoot a man on live television, and there'll be people still in the millions coming out to vote for him because he'll be like, oh, he did nothing wrong, or the guy he shot probably deserved it. Cult of personality, 100%, that is on the list. Then we have, why will Kamala Harris win? Well, she's not Joe Biden. She's younger. She's a black woman.
Fell out of a coconut tree.
She fell out of a coconut tree. No one's ever done that before. Didn't want Joe Biden because he was just old, and we were embarrassed that he was the candidate. Okay, we got rid of him. We'll see if that, helps. Maybe that's the reason why she wins. Roe v. Wade really being the sticking point for a lot of voters, especially women voters, and women women do vote more than men. And maybe she'll get more women to vote. There's a chance in this election maybe women vote the most that they ever had in maybe even the last 20-something years. I don't know the exact numbers, but I could see it being close to a historical amount potentially. And if that happens, probably Kamala Harris will win, unless they're all white women who love Trump. Because Trump does do well with white women, especially non-educated ones. I mean educated in the sense of getting college degrees. But also, not educated. Then the leftists, the online left or the Bernie bros, whatever you want to call them, pro-Palestine voters, they just don't affect the outcome as much as, they think it will, or maybe we will. So, we're just a loud minority potentially, right? So, you know, people still come to vote for her. Maybe they're like, fuck, I hate Kamala Harris all my being. But once again, I'm gonna hold my nose and vote just like I did with Joe Biden and I did with Hillary Clinton. Yeah, so that's why Kamala Harris will win. Then why they will lose? Donald Trump, racism, sexism, fascism catches up with him. He has said a lot of crazy shit since he ran in 2016. A lot of times we ask, how does he get away with this? Most of his supporters don't care. But maybe, the Puerto Rico is trash, a trash island or whatever that one of his people at one of his rallies said, and a bunch of other crazy shit that was said at that rally, and Donald Trump's also said a lot of crazy shit and uses dog whistles and whatnot. That all finally catches up to him. America does finally, was like, yep, this guy is racist. I don't want Christian fascism in my country. I'm done. I'm so done with Donald Trump. Please leave. Never come back. And then people also remember his first term. I mean, like, these are like the average maybe American voter who they don't really care that he's racist, sexist, or whatever. Maybe they don't even know what fascism means. But they're like, you know what? I didn't like January 6th. That kind of pissed me off. Or I didn't like how COVID was handled under him. And maybe even the economy, right? At the end there, just what his first term as a whole, it was tiring. I want to go back to brunch. All right. That's what that second point is. And then the third one, kind of with Kamala Harris winning, reason Donald Trump will lose is the Roe v. Wade. Like I said, he loses maybe some of his women's support that he's gotten in other elections, and Kamala Harris maybe gets more. But at the end of the day, maybe Donald Trump loses more of his women voters because of Roe v. Wade, and just in the Republican Party in general gets affected by that, as we saw in multiple states in 2022. Like we saw in 2022, places like a deep red, supposedly, right? Ohio voted to protect abortion at the end of the day. So abortion is the issue is not as divisive as Republicans make it out to seem. So I think maybe Roe v. Wade, women come out to vote and vote against it, even if they maybe are Republican voters, and that's how Donald Trump loses. Kamala Harris will lose this election because of her inability to bring in much more left-leaning folks, and she starts catering too much to the right, trying to find that moderate voter or that swing voter. They do that too much. Maybe it worked for Joe Biden to a degree, but she isn't Joe Biden, like we said, and maybe that, her just being a woman is too divisive for 50-year-old Frank in Michigan, who voted for Joe Biden, but he's like, I'll never vote for a woman. I don't care what her policies are. Maybe that's, she keeps trying to cater to that guy versus, people who are like, I would vote for you if you get rid of student loan debt. Or, hey, can you give us a ceasefire, please, in Palestine? Thank you. Those kind of things. That'll be the reason she loses, because she didn't cater to those voters. Those voters don't show up for her. Second one being the economy. Arguably we've been maybe in and out of a recession. The economy hasn't been great for a lot of people. It isn't great for a lot of people, working class people especially, or if you're poor, especially not. But at the same time, there's been inflation's gone down a bit, right? All these things. But at the end of the day, those gas prices, man, a lot of voters just look at the gas prices and blame the president. So maybe that'll be the reason Kamala loses, is people still think the economy is not good enough out after COVID. So, they don't vote for her. And the last one we have is just kind of obvious right here, right? Misogyny and racism. Window, stop. Misogyny and racism, people don't want a woman as president, and they don't want a black woman as president. So, we're not going to vote for her. And America maybe is more racist than we think. And that's why Kamala will lose. So those are our 4 little slides here. Hope you enjoyed.